I have little Jameson here today. Say hi. Hello. Hi. You can smile. You have a little This is going to be a video about some of the feelings that adoptive parents or potential adoptive parents feel before they're placed with their baby. And I'm going to tell you kind of how it was for us. So one thing is fear of rejection. I remember before we met our birth moms, I was afraid that they weren't going to like us. I thought, and I didn't want to be rejected by them. And but then again, I knew at the same time, well, if it's not a match, it's not a match. But that is a fear that you have. The second feeling that you'll feel is loss of control. And when I say loss of control, it means you really don't have a say in anything, and it's like you just kind of have to go with the flow. If you didn't want your baby to have shots or whatever, you don't have that option because you're not the parent. If they want you in the room when the baby's born, great. But if not, you can't complain. You just are grateful for whatever. But you really don't have a say in anything, and you don't. It's just kind of like you feel like everything's out of your control and out of your hands. But that's normal to feel that way. Another one was you have this feeling of wanting to please. And for me, I related that to I really just wanted to do everything I could for our boys' birth moms. After we were chosen, I felt bad for them because it's like I was out living my life, having fun, and they were at home with swollen ankles and pregnant. So it's like I just wanted to do everything I could for them. But it depends on what state you're in. But like in the state of Texas, you're not even, and I think, yeah, with both adoptions, you're not allowed to spend a dime on them. You can't even go out to dinner and buy them a drink or anything because that's kind of like buying a baby, so it's illegal in Texas. I remember just wanting to just make them happy and make them not regret their choice of choosing us. Next emotion is anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety. It's kind of like you combine the loss of control and wanting to please, and you just are anxious, and every time my phone would ring, I would think, oh no, is this a good call, a bad call? Is this the call? So you just kind of have to be prepared for that, but that's normal. The next one will be overwhelmed with desire to have this child. Okay, so for me, it was different with each adoption, and this is why. Sawyer was the first. He was our first baby, my first adoption. I really didn't know anything about adoption. I didn't know, it was all fresh to me. I didn't really know that much about birth moms or anything like that. And so I remember thinking how badly I wanted him, but at the same time, I remember thinking, what if it doesn't work out? What am I going to do? Everything I buy, am I going to have to return it? And I was scared, and it was out of my control, and I just craved him. I worried every single day. Well, when Jameson's adoption, I learned a lot between the time of Sawyer's adoption and Jameson's adoption. By the time Jameson was here, I had this overwhelming sense of wanting him, but I also knew that adoption is if it's meant to be, it'll happen thing. And so I was able to brace myself in case. And but I decided this is my time. I did not want to spend time worrying or obsessing about it. I just wanted to spend the time enjoying Sawyer and being with him because I knew life was about to get busy with another little baby. So I don't know, it's different for everyone, but I also knew how, after Sawyer's adoption, I saw what his birth parents went through. I saw the pain, and I knew that was coming. When Jameson's adoption was going on, I knew that was coming. And so it became less about my overwhelming want for him and more about I was overwhelmingly compassionate towards his birth mom because I knew the road that was ahead for her. I knew how hard it was for her, and I loved her so much. I just wanted her to be happy. I wanted her to be at peace with everything, and so it was kind of weird. So yeah, first adoption, I was overwhelmed to just have Sawyer in my life because he was the first, but with the second one, I learned there's no use in sweating it. There's no use in worrying. Were there times I did have my doubts? Yeah, but I think anybody would. But I also knew that it was I don't know, I learned to just not doubt God's plan for us. Next one is you feel a ton of compassion. I love, 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 love our birth families on both sides. I just have the hugest heart for them. And with Sawyer's adoption, It was different. Like, I was in the room when Sawyer was born. I saw her in labor. I saw her, just how hard it was for her. I was there with her in the hospital, and I saw how much pain she was in, and I wish it could have been me laying there in pain. I wish that she didn't have to go through that. And with Jameson, I wasn't in the room, but I remembered how hard it was for Sawyer's birth mom. And so I was just so compassionate towards her. I just felt this, just wanting to be there and hold her hand. I mean, she wanted things a little different. She's a little more private, but I remember just thinking how badly I just wanted her to just know that I'm not going anywhere and you have nothing to worry about. And it's amazing how much love you have for another person. The next one is anticipatory guilt. Okay, so yeah, that one is hard because you are anticipating this baby come into your life. You're thinking about your new life ahead with your family and all the things you could do when the baby's here. But then you're quickly reminded that while you're celebrating, there's going to be your child's birth mom that's going to be hurting. The person that made you a mother, pretty much. And it's like, I remember feeling like I didn't even want to celebrate, I guess, because I was just hurting for them so badly. Jameson's adoption, I had some friends that wanted to throw me a baby shower, and I told them no. I just wasn't in a place to celebrate because I didn't feel right about it. I hurt so bad for their birth families, and I just wasn't ready for that yet. And the last one that you have, another feeling you'll feel before placement, is you have a feeling of fear that it won't happen. And it does happen. Like, sometimes it doesn't happen, and that is something that I did have in my brain, but I knew, like I said, if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. And if not, it's okay. It's not that we necessarily did anything wrong. It just wasn't meant to be. So those are just a few of the things that you feel. So I'll repeat those again. Fear of rejection, loss of control, wanting to please, anxiety, overwhelmed desire to have this child, compassion, anticipatory guilt, and fear that the placement will fail. So those were just some of the things I felt before adoption. There's many more, but those are just a few of like the most common ones that a lot of adoptive families feel. Somebody had given me this really helpful info, and I wanted to share it. This is some feelings before placement that birth families feel like around the same time. So they gave me this little list here. So I was going to share some of those with you. Okay, for a birth family before placement, they fear rejection. They fear abandonment. They are excited to make a connection with an adoptive family. They have this feeling of wanting love and acceptance. They have fear of the future. They have this overwhelming concern for their child. And then there's the physical discomfort from pregnancy. Now, that's for a birth family. So those are just a few of the things that people experiencing adoption go through. So just thought I would share. See ya.